Hello and welcome to week 3 of my New Year's drawing challenge. So I set myself the task of doing 31 drawings by prompts chosen by people from Instagram with a 10-minute time frame. It's been a big challenge, it's been a big learning curve, and this is the third week recap of the drawings that I've done. What you're seeing now is the prompts and the drawings, and then we're going to break it down prompt by prompt. You can see me do the drawing and I'll give you some thoughts on how it all came together. Now, day 15 of the challenge was all about self-portraits. This was from Jessica Archer Artworks on Instagram. If you haven't seen Jessica's work, go and check her out right now. She does some awesome drawings. You won't be disappointed. As always, I put links in the description box below to all of these folks. You can click through and see what's going on in their world. Now, I've chosen to use charcoal for this particular drawing. Charcoal gives me the ability to capture a lot of information quite quickly, and some of the information that I'm looking to capture here is values. Values give us the ability to render our objects from two-dimensional flat drawings into three-dimensional forms, and that's what I'm attempting to do with my 10 minutes here. Now, I'm using two different types of charcoal for this drawing. You saw me earlier using a large stick of willow charcoal. That's a very soft charcoal that's quite easy to blend. Now I'm coming back over the top with the charcoal pencil. Now the charcoal pencil is hard compressed charcoal, which means it's not as easy to erase or move around as the willow charcoal, but it's great for building contrast and putting in those darker tones or values. As I've mentioned before, with a 10-minute time frame, there's not enough time to agonise over every little detail. So here you can see me putting a few little bits of texture on just to try to capture a few little elements. I'm coming back in with a white pastel to try and drop a couple of highlights in, and I've run out of time. That's it, so that's the drawing. I would have loved another 30 seconds just to drop a couple more highlights on the face, but the timer says no, so that's where we leave it. Now I'm going to return to some of these drawings again in the future with a longer time frame, more than 10 minutes. And I would really appreciate if you would leave me a comment below to let me know which one your favourite is. I'll return back to those again in the future, and you'll get to see a comparison of the short drawing versus the long drawing and how I do things differently. Now the day 17 prompt was Rats and Flowers from Cest Avril. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Go check out her artwork, it's brilliant, you won't be disappointed. Now I've chosen to use pencil for this drawing because I want to be able to capture a lot of line detail quickly and easily, and a pencil is great for that kind of work. Now for the shape of the rat, I'm actually using a photo reference that I found on Pixabay, and for the flowers I'm simply drawing them from my imagination. Having put the basic shapes in with a light pencil, I now come back over with a darker pencil and start using lines to build texture and also value into my work. So in this drawing we're using lines, shapes, values and textures. Why is that important? It's really good to know what the building blocks are that you're using to create the drawings that you're doing. Then as you learn more about those building blocks and how they work and how they interact with each other, you can then start to make better decisions in your drawings, and you can also start to solve problems when you have something going wrong in your artwork and you don't know what to do about it. Now I've gotten a fair bit into this drawing this morning, but the timer has caught me and that's the end of that one. Let me know which one's your favourite. How would you approach a drawing like this if you needed to draw rats and flowers? Now the next prompt was from Dark Arts Hobbit on Instagram, and this was a mythical creature in their native landscape. Now dragons are pretty cool. There's a lot of different ways I could have approached this, but what I'm going to do here is capture the long sweeping form of a dragon. Now I'm not using any reference for this drawing, so I've got to pull it completely out of my mind. What I did to prepare for that was I sat down and I looked at a few photos of illustrations from some artists who I had admired when I was younger. In particular, I took a look at some of the artwork from an artist by the name of Jeff Easley, who, if you don't know, did a lot of the Dungeons & Dragons illustrations from way back in the day. Now this drawing is not a copy of any other drawing that I looked at, or even of any components of a drawing. I simply looked at Jeff's work and used that as a way to help myself remember how I used to feel about these types of things. And then as I channeled those feelings, that's what I used as my reference to draw this picture. So where the two previous drawings were much more representational, as in I was trying to copy something real, this drawing is much more about imagination and expressing something about how I feel or what I can remember. So I've chosen a few lines and a few broad strokes, and I've tried to capture how I feel and what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now just before we get to the next drawing, I'd like to ask a quick favour. Can you please hit that like button if you're enjoying this video? It really does help me out. Thank you so much. Now the day 18 prompt was Australian mountains, and this came from Alexandra's art studio on Instagram. Alexandra does some wonderful artwork. Make sure you go and check out all the folks that I've mentioned in my video. They all have something amazing to offer. Now the particular mountain that I've chosen for this drawing was Cradle Mountain, which is in Tasmania. Now I visited Tasmania in the past, but I haven't had the opportunity to get to Cradle Mountain, and it's one of Australia's more iconic mountains in my opinion. Again, I've returned to drawing with pencil for this one because I believe it will allow me to capture some of the shapes and textures easily and quickly, which is what I'm looking for in this drawing. Before starting any drawing, I normally will sit down with a reference or some concept of what I want to do and spend a little bit of time just thinking about how I want the drawing to go and what the important things for me are. One of the ways you can do this for yourself is if you have a reference photo or a scene in front of you that you want to attempt, take a quick look and just note your first impression as you glance at it. What are the things that jump out at you? And I'm talking about spaces, I'm talking about light, I'm talking about shapes, I'm talking about lines and textures. Which ones really jump out at you? Particularly with a short drawing, there's not enough time to prioritize everything, so you really have to just focus on what's absolutely important to you. So in this drawing I've captured the shape of the mountain, and then I've just worked on building in some of the details and the textures that really captured my imagination and my interest when I first looked at this. Architectural drawings was the next prompt from Danya Artworld. Thank you very much, Danya. This one was a big challenge for me because I knew the 10-minute time frame was going to make this quite difficult. Now I enjoy challenging myself because that's how I learn. Now I decided to put some time into building some one-point perspective, so I've made a vanishing point on the very left side of the page, and I've drawn a series of lines that all will meet up with that vanishing point. Once I have all of those lines drawn in, I need to quickly erase the ones that won't be present in the drawing in the finish so that they're not still there annoying me later. Having put all the basic lines in, now it's time to start working on some of the detail and the character of the building that I'm drawing. Now this was actually a return to Tasmania, and it's part of the convict ruins found at Port Arthur. Now I decided to throw something new into the mix, and so I grabbed a biro to be able to make some nice dark lines quickly. And using a series of hatching and cross-hatching, I intend to fill up all the dark spaces quite quickly with this. However, the pen has run out about halfway through the drawing, so I've quickly grabbed a 6B pencil and I'm trying to match the same level of darkness. I hope that doesn't ruin my drawing. To really do this topic justice, I know I'm going to need more time, so I'm focusing absolutely on just the bare essentials of trying to capture the lines and the shapes in this drawing. Now this is something that I would definitely enjoy returning to in the future. Don't forget to let me know which ones your favourites are. Now that pesky timer has caught me, but just before we move to the next drawing, why did the picture go to jail? Because it was framed. Now before you send me to jail for that joke, let's move on to the day 20 prompt of Liquidic. Now this was by my Fanwinya. Now I'm sure I must be pronouncing that wrong, and I'm sorry. I know this person as Harriet, and go check her out on Instagram and also here on YouTube. She has some wonderful artworks available. Now you guys love to challenge me, but guess what? I love it when you do, because it really makes me have to work for this. Now I came up with all kinds of ideas on what I could do to create this particular effect of liquidic, but some of them were going to be quite difficult and need quite a lot of time to draw well. So while I was randomly scrolling through the internet looking at photos, I happened to find one of a twig with some frozen icicles hanging off and a small water drop coming off the end. It's simple, it's natural, and it's liquidic. There was my prompt for this drawing. So I'm using some coloured charcoals for this. I have a black charcoal, I have a white charcoal, and I have a sanguine coloured charcoal. Now the trick to capturing ice, water, liquid, any of these type of reflective surfaces is that you really need to focus in on drawing exactly what you can see. And that's what I'm attempting to do here. Now to draw this very well, you would want to spend a lot of time just building up layers, and then you could draw in an infinite amount of small details and really capture this. I don't have the luxury of all that time, so I've got to just go for the absolute basic, and that time has caught me again. So thank you for your challenging prompt, Harriet. I really enjoyed this one. I hope you're having an ice day. Now I know the Northern Hemisphere is in winter at the moment, but hopefully my jokes will help thaw you out a bit. The next prompt that came up was koala. This is from Nick Yera Art. Go and check Nick out on Instagram. He's got some great stuff. Have a look. Now I love koalas. Do you love koalas? Everybody loves koalas. If you love koalas, make sure you hit the like button now. Now I've returned to charcoal for this drawing because I want to be able to capture a lot of information quickly and build some layers quickly, and charcoal gives me the ability to do that. If I want to try out something new or figure out how to do something, charcoal is usually the place where I start. Now charcoal is a really great medium to draw with because it's forgiving. You can move things around, you can try different things, you can change things, and you can get away with that. Whereas some other mediums, once you put something there, that's where it stays. Now I'm using a combination of charcoal and white pastel for this, and that's something that I often combine. They work really well together. It's a great way to capture fur because you can draw wide lines. You're not just restricted to tiny little thin lines like you get out of a charcoal pencil. You can draw your wide lines in first with the sticks, and then come in over the top with the pencil and draw fine lines in to add more detail and texture, and that's what I'm doing now. Now I'm able to put a little bit more depth and detail into this particular drawing because I've drawn koalas before, and that's what I call doing research drawings. Once you understand your topic a little bit, when you come back to it next time, it's easier for you to draw again. Now that's it, 7 drawings in 7 days, 70 minutes. The last thing I want to say to you is this. You can draw and you have time. 10 minutes a day is all it takes. You can get your drawings done and get on with your life. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate your time, your effort, your energy in coming to see what I've been up to. I hope you have a great day. Check the description box below for the exciting things that are there. Thank you.